Fiction Novel Book Review. Jame in a Hunger Game. Jame is kidnapped and taken to a strange game called the Hunger Games, set on a Pacific island, along with 49 others. Only one will survive and have the chance to return to their original life. Will he endure and be lucky enough to survive the journey he's been forced to undertake? That day, Jame Norris woke up suddenly from a deep sleep. He was startled to find himself in an unfamiliar place, staring at a dark ceiling in the midst of a heavy scent of dust. The air smelled as if it had just been disturbed by something, making it chaotic. As he became more alert, Jame looked around and realized that he was lying among many other men. They were motionless, scattered across the dusty floor just like him. After several hours, the others began to wake up, glancing around in confusion, much like Jame had done. He tried to explore the place, but all he could see was the vast darkness of the room, as there was no light. His vision was limited to about 2 meters around him, and the room seemed incredibly large, making it impossible to see everything. He groped in the dark and discovered even more people lying asleep. Many of them slowly awoke, started looking around, and began exploring the area. Some were terrified, curling up and repeatedly muttering that this was just a dream, a nightmare, as they came to grips with their situation. It seemed that they couldn't accept the fact that they had been kidnapped. The 21st century is a time of great inventions, yet being kidnapped was a reality they found impossible to believe. Jame, along with a few others, remained calm, trying to figure out a solution. He pondered over the seriousness of his predicament. Why had someone kidnapped him and so many others? How had they managed to capture so many people so easily and dump them here? These questions swirled in Jame's mind. He was the owner of a convenience store, and if he had been kidnapped, his store would have no one to open it for business. Many of the others had now fully awakened, horrified at their situation. They screamed, cried, hoping for a way out, but there was no answer. Some began to tremble, fearing the worst was yet to come. Silence and fear settled over them. After Jame had explored the vast dark room, he couldn't find any way out. The room was filled with people and random items scattered everywhere. Most of the objects were bamboo baskets neatly stacked against the dust-covered walls. Although Jame couldn't see clearly in the dark at first, after a day of adjusting, he could make out the objects in the room. Everything was made of bamboo or woven from reeds, with countless baskets stacked up to the ceiling. Some were toppled over or dented, all covered in a thick layer of dust several centimeters deep, suggesting they had been there for a long time. After a day of searching, Jame and the others began to feel thirsty, but there was nothing in the room except bamboo baskets and dust. Another day passed, bringing more thirst and hunger. Many of the men began trembling, growing more fearful, worried they might never escape and would die in this dark room. Even those who had remained strong started to feel afraid, including Jame. Initially, he was calm and resilient, but hunger and thirst soon took his strong, and he too began to tremble like the others. Everyone lay trembling, motionless, waiting for the moment when the end would come for them, Jame included. Buy book to read more on Tentory, or read on Amazon Kindle. Code is B0DJQX6ZLV.